going to be talking about the 3 most common leg training mistakes. It's something that so many people mess up on, because upper body, really, when you think about it, is just working out, and leg training is actually training. There's a pretty considerable difference here. And the first thing you want to think about, obviously, from the most basic standpoint, is intensity. So the thing that most people are lacking is not necessarily technique or execution or whatever, but it is actual intensity. So I don't currently know how to unrack this machine. It's my first time on it, but essentially, you take a machine you haven't used or whatever it is, and the number one thing you're going to run into with a lot of people is they're not adapted to it, whatever else, and they don't know how to train hard. Period. They don't know how to actually push within a close proximity to failure. So most important thing, obviously, is going to be pushing within a close proximity to failure, and before you go, making sure you actually figure out how to rack and unrack your machine or whatever. And again, I've never been to this gym before. This is my first time even using a Cybex, hack squat, or whatever. So I'm gonna take my time, learn it, feel it out, and make sure I'm able to get in a position where I am actually slowing. The concentric velocity of my reps are slowing against my will, and there's nothing I can do about that, but the actual pushing up of the rep is slowing down against my will. And that's kind of like the main cue you wanna think about when I'm working with clients. And one thing I'm thinking about is how the actual push of the rep is slowing down and they can't control it. So we're gonna do a working set here really quick. Just gonna feel it out a little more. We got two bands on here, which makes this, it's very heavily banded, which is fine, but let's make it a little bit easier because the band is making it a little less difficult in the stretch or the lengthened position. So just gonna feel this out real quick with 2, get a working set going. And the cool thing about a band like this is that it makes it just slightly easier at the bottom. So if you notice, we're kind of reaching up on this warm up here. If you notice, the bottom is gonna get a little bit easier. So it's not an easy machine, but you'll notice that at the bottom here, it's just not quite as hard as some other ones. So that's kind of the main thing we're looking for. So I just did 2 plates. Do you want to do a working set here or no? No? Just me? Okay. And here we go. We got 2 plates on here. Gonna probably throw on, I'd say a 25. Might be good to throw on. We're probably gonna throw on a 25 on each side. It's like 3 plates might be overshooting things a little bit. So just to do 2 plates and a 25 here on each side. And we're gonna get to our working set. Remember, the link in the description for anybody that wants to apply for coaching. You fill out the type form, linked down below in the description. So this will most likely be our working set. We'll see. I might up it to 3 plates. But again, I haven't used this before, so there is gonna be a little bit of a grace period, but the main goal is to limit that as much as possible. So here we go. And coming up, and unrack. Okay. So that was pretty precisely 4 reps with 1 or 2 in reserve. Given that I'm hitting an upper body tomorrow, don't want the load on my CNS to be that extreme, where we're hitting failure, that 0 RIR point, diminishing returns between the last 5 reps of a set, based on the 5 effective reps theory that people follow at least. The thought is that each of the last 5 reps closer to failure are gonna be the most important. Now, because I only did 4, I left 1 or 2 in the tank, I got maybe 60 to 80% of the potential growth stimulus here, but by doing that, I saved out on a lot of the fatigue cost that would come with doing a full set to failure. So Cybex hack squat, very humbling, 2 plates and a quarter with a little bit of a band on it, but either way, great stuff. We're gonna keep going. All right, so the second major leg training problem that so many people are running into is they're completely incapable of regulating their frequency and their volume and their intensity, like I mentioned earlier. So intensity, obviously, you want to be working in heavy rep ranges, working pretty close to failure, maybe 1 or 2 reps in the tank, depending on the context, obviously. But what a lot of people are not able to do is to sequence these things properly to where they're able to recover properly before their next leg day, and they're able to give their CNS a chance to recover, their central nervous system, before hitting their next upper day. So, for example, I have an upper day tomorrow. I am not going to absolutely fry my central nervous system on like the seated hamstring or whatever here, hack squat, whatever I've been doing here. So the thing I'm I'm focusing on is, again, doing things to sort of save my CNS as best I can. How can I do that? Well, working in a little bit lower of a rep range is obviously a great way to do that, because you have actual less junk volume. You have less reps that are not contributing towards your potential growth stimulus for the set. So working in like 4 to 6 reps as opposed to like 15 to 17, for example, is gonna be a much better idea. Another thing we're thinking about is, you know, connectivity in terms of like joint health and recovery and things like that. So one of the main things you want to look at is making sure you're not, for example, like frying your lumbar on your leg day and then going to hit back the day after. So I didn't do like 4 sets of stiff leg deadlift today because that would be like ridiculous before hitting a back day tomorrow. So that felt pretty close to a working weight. So we're gonna hop off here and get ready to do a little working set here in a second. So try to just stretch it out here, feel good. You gonna do what, like 2 here? You gonna do like 2 sets here? It's pretty simple.
And then leg extension, calves.
Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy, yeah. That's pretty solid. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a second set here. That was 120, 140 is probably the good spot here for a working weight. So, you know what's funny is these YouTube videos I'm doing, that I'm recording right now, like unscripted, unedited, do really well. Like they each get like 500 to 800 views on my YouTube channel, and it's a brand new channel. Like the channel has like 100 subs, and they'll get like, so like if I film a bunch of these and I have like, you know, a nice collection to upload, pretty cool. We got a lot of options. We'll do some upper stuff too later, like just to talk about. Okay, anyways, gonna do our working set here. Feeling good, nice and stable on this machine. Want to brace against it, get nice and comfy, and here we go. Okay. That was 4, about 2 in the tank. Same thing. We'll probably just do that 1 set here. Kind of 1 set of everything here for legs and keep going. And the third main problem that comes with training leg day, and something that so many people aren't able to do, is actually work with movements that are comfortable for them and don't aggravate existing injuries or issues. And it sounds obvious, but actually isn't. If you look at someone like my friend Ian here, he is having some problems. You've had some problems in the past, know your sciatic nerve here.
Yeah.
And you know, you say that pointing your toes forward actually alleviates it for you a little bit.
Well, it does, because it stretches it out.
Yeah. So doing things that are actually comfortable for you. Again, everybody has their own different reason for doing things. This doesn't personally bother me or aggravate my joints or whatever.
And allows you to stretch more, so for me it helps.
Right.
And somebody who has this issue might find benefit with that too.
So very simply, best thing you do is pick movements that are actually comfortable for you, that allow you to train hard and actually push it relatively close to failure and get you in that hypertrophy rep range. So here we go. We do a working set here. Feel ready? Or do you still feel like you're in warm-up territory?
I'm good.
Awesome.